Namaste, hi, Sinerji Studio. Okay, that's mimicking.
Yeah.
Cut.
Anyway, hi everyone. Welcome back to Sinerji Studio. A drink with
Meri and Mina. We've got champagne. We've elevated.
Okay. We got
Big
this
time.
probably reason number 1. People said we don't drink anymore. Reason number 2, we're going out to a whole day of drinking today, brunching and
So
bar
what better
hopping and
way
everything.
than start with a champagne?
Yeah.
Mini.
Can I point out it's 9 in the morning?
Yeah.
So okay.
Mina Didi is clearly dressed. My dress is a bit risky.
Yeah,
so
exactly. I thought you were gonna dress up and then do the filming.
I
and then
thought
we're
too,
gonna,
but then my dress is short, so you know more what it's all. So
You don't wanna
I don't want to flash.
I mean, I think Sinerji audience would like something.
No,
Something
not for
soft.
free. Not for free.
Meri has an OnlyFans account.
No, not for free.
Alright.
My OnlyFans account is Meri Daughter. But imagine there's actually one.
Oh shit! Yeah.
No, I don't.
Can
have
I trust you with this? I'll. We're in a rush today, so we're gonna try to.
I'm gonna pop
this.
slowly. I'm a woman.
This
with
is
class.
we've never had such chaotic start of the podcast. Okay?
Why are you like screaming? It's moit.
No. Oh my god! Like still stuck.
You don't drink champagne every day unless you're like, you know.
God, shake it a little bit.
Why?
I know, halka shake just to give it a little push. Dere shake gone manikone bye bye. Woo!
Oh, that was
Jiggy
beautiful.
jaan lega kya? Anyway, we don't have champagne flutes, so we'll.
I don't know how to
We'll
pour it
drink it.
either. Because I get poured, I don't pour. What bullshit. Anyways.
When the makeup's on, the attitude is just another level.
But I'm so proud, guys. You know, last time I was talking about my contact lens struggle, I did contact lens and eyelash in 40 minutes.
Poor love, poor.
So,
Yeah.
this is it.
Oh, no.
Anyways, I'm not a big fan of champagne.
It's a chilly morning, but just for the studio, I put this on. But I'm a little chilly at the minute.
She's got a heater by her side. So.
Right here. There's a heater.
Anyways, let's crack on then, Anna. Without further ado.
Right. I think not much introduction to the topic. We kind of briefly touched on it in our last episode.
Yeah.
It's all about kind of like where we, although we had both sets of parents, were we kind of technically raised single parents, by single parents until a certain age type question, thinking. Before we do that, at what age did you start actually living with your dad?
I think I previously mentioned in my podcast, I'm a podcast man, no? Oh, cheers.
Yeah.
Before that, this needs a bit of drink.
Oh,
It's too early. Have you had
smooth,
water?
It's nice.
Have you had water?
Have you seen me drink water?
So this is her first drink, guys. I had a glass of water, so at least I'm okay. The first time I moved in with dad, actually lived with him, was the age of 16. Prior to that, I think I had accumulation of all those years, only a year together.
Okay.
So literally, I basically had a holiday mate, paying for my bills, and only lived with him at the age of 16.
Oh, bless him. I started living full time with my dad when I was 12. And even that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't kind of blackmailed my mom and dad that, they were only taking my younger brother and sister to Brunei to live with them and not me. Originally, the plan was I stay back, go to boarding school, and the two younger ones, they go with mom and dad to live with family wala hunne mana. But I was like, I had the middle child syndrome.
She still does.
I still do. But also I was like, but then they were like, okay, we'll take you at the last minute. So everything had to be rushed. So before you started living with your dad, what was your image of your dad? Like, what did you know about your dad in totality?
Before living with my dad, I spent every time that I had with him, like mini holidays, to impress him. Yeah. So I really didn't have an image of my dad because I was very young and I always try to impress. Like, everyone knows I had a turbulent relationship with him. So I was always trying to get attention from him. So I don't have an image of him per se. Like, man's like a superhero, your dad is like this, man. I can say one image that I had of him was being affectionate, because he never was affectionate to me. And I'd see school my friends or dads being affectionate to them. So that's what I wished he was. But I didn't per se have an image of what he was. Did you have one?
No. So you were more focused on making an image of you to him than him.
Yeah, I guess. Because I was like deprived of that whole attachment part neither.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, my dad, bless him, he's not much of a talker. I mean,
man, he can talk. He can talk.
No, Meri,
I got that wrong.
Meri and my dad's banter, they're just back and forth.
I love it. It's on point.
Honestly, the funniest things, like he says the funniest things around you, yeah.
And I come with the same reply.
Exactly. And my dad's like drinking whiskey, and then she comes through the kitchen door, and he's like, "Oh yeah, are you having black tea?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'm having black tea." Like, honestly,
it's so lame. Our sense of humor is so lame, but we find it funny. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we find it funny as well. But I basically have like about 2 core memories of my dad, because पहिलाको जमानामा when they were in the army, they would either get a month's holiday, as far as I know. Don't quote me on this, Anata. As far as I know, they would either be allowed to take a month's holiday every year, or if they could not go home, if they didn't go home for 3 years, then they would get 3 months.
Yeah.
So that's how it used to work. So I think my dad kind of came for 3 months once. My first core memory is this is so funny. So he was there, no, and every time we knew that my dad was coming, we would all be like, there were a lot of kids. Okay? We would all be hoping for the Toblerone.
Oh my God, and Pringles.
Yeah. Toblerone and Pringles. That would be like the import food, the eat food. We would be expecting that every time. And that was like one thing. Did I say 2 core memories? I think I was 3.
Yeah, you said 1 core memory. 2 core memories.
2 core memories. We would
one.
be expecting that. So 1 core memory is probably that, and also the fact that he used to set targets, not targets per se, but he used to motivate us through letters. Saying, not letters, but basically he said, if you would get first position, second position, or third position in your exams, then the first position would get 1,000 rupees, second would get 500, and the third one would get about 300 rupees. Okay, so all the kids in the house were like studying hard for that
1,000,
money.
Yeah.
And if you know, in Nepal, like you have 3 sets of exams in a year, but we would only get the money for the last final exam.
Year.
Yeah. So obviously, I would always get a grand. But my sister and my brothers, they were also quite good at their studies. I don't know what happened after when they entered adulthood, but they used to get second, third position all the time. That was like kind of like my core memory to my dad, like the chocolate money. And then another core memory is that we still talk about it. Okay, this was this one particular holiday when he came, and he so my sister, me, and my brother, I don't think my youngest sister had been born then. He took us to the dentist all together because we had like cavities and everything. He took. Why am I talking like this? Like I'm like
she's a whole new vibe. She's a whole new vibe.
I'm doing this, and I'm like, why the fuck am I doing this? So he took 3 of us to the dentist, right? And all of it had to take out at least 1 tooth. Hey, so
drama.
So my older sister, being the oldest, went first. No, got in, got out. I went in second. Got in, got out. And we were both, me and my sister, we were both outside. We were like holding on to our jaw because it was like it felt swollen, painful. And they give you cotton that you put inside to soak the saliva. And we were just literally sat there like a sad person in a waiting room. And then my brother goes in, youngest.
Drama, man.
And then as soon as he goes in, and in there you have like a little curtain. Yeah. as soon as the curtain closed, all we heard was like, "Wah!" It was the funniest scream. It was as if somebody was murdering him.
him.
Throughout the whole procedure, he was like, "Wah! Wah!" I think they had to hold him down inside.
I can relate to him.
And then my sister and I were like, we looked at each other. You know, when you look at each other, then you just cannot stop laughing. And we're like trying to laugh, but our one side of the face was still numb and not moving. And then we were laughing at him. Then we were looking at each other's mouth and laughing at each other. Oh my God, that's like one of the core memories. Okay? And then he took us to, I don't know if a lot of you guys know Pokhara, but Feota. He took us to Feota, took us on a boat ride, and bought us some Milky Bar. Okay? And that's why I feel like that's one of my core memories. Okay? And I feel like Milky Bar was always probably my first choice ever.
Yeah. I think that's why you like white chocolate a lot.
That's why I like
it's
white
like
chocolate.
The memory of it.
Do you associate such good feelings for it?
Okay, it's not related to my dad and the relationship we had. But a dental story with that. I have a funny one. So I can relate to your brother. So if you know
Can you?
So if you know like RCT, root canal treatment, everything, we've got kids with cavities, you know it, I know. I had to go through an RCT procedure. And Poila, it wasn't as smooth as it was now back in the days, you know.
Yeah.
I cried so hard I left the whole thing. I literally vacated the room.
What do you
half RCT. Yo, pissed. What did I do?
Sorry. Sorry, that sounded like a dying geese.
Are you okay?
You left half RCT?
I left halfway through the treatment. They had to book me another appointment. Next week, very thing.
How old were you?
I was like really 6 or 7. I was really young, very naughty to your face, man. Then I got really good, and then I became notorious on my teenage years again. I was like very notorious for doing things my way type. Okay, like you know, I got away, kanchi types. Because you're young, Nita.
Yeah.
I had no younger siblings. It was just me as the youngest. And then I left. And next time when I got the treatment done, you know how your dad got you Milky Bar?
Yeah.
I'm like, say the doctor asked, do you like ice cream? I thought he was psychologically rhetorical questions. I was like, no, I don't like ice cream. And then he was like, juice khao sabe. And then mom got real juice. So that's my memory of that. But oh God, don't do that to kids, man. It's just funny. Anyways, what other cool? So you said your core memory.
Yeah. Those two were the only things that I kind of had, like, you know what they say, like your guide to a person. That was all I knew about my dad. Okay?
Yeah.
I knew that he was. So my image before I lived with him full time was he was gentle, he was fun. You know, obviously moms who raise you on a daily basis,
they tell you,
they're not fun. They're doing the hard job. Now I know, but the mom was the
bad one,
strict, disciplining one. Yeah, dad was the good cop, bad cop, and everything. And the dad used to come in. This is why I find it so annoying, because you know, the person who's doing the hard job day in day out, we consider them the bad cop. Until
you realize later
that okay, that's what was happening. But dad was always good cop, like until we started living together.
I don't even know, like there's the core memories of dad. I don't have much, but I have 2 as well.
Yeah.
I'd say when we were really young, I think we were like 8 years old. With my dad had a best friend, like when he always came to Nepal. He had a tool baba he used to go to. Okay, tool baba is old, like he's almost like my granddad's age. Like I think he's in his 70s.
Oh my God, sorry, I'm burping.
Yeah, so he passed away recently as well, and tool baba. So they're like best buddies. Okay, always joined to the hip wherever. So every time he came to Nepal, he was never home as well because he was always with tool baba. So taskin la jantyo, and then I remember mom telling us to go get your dad because phone thaina ni ta tyo bela.
Oh yeah.
There was phone, but they wouldn't pick up because they know. Kino phone gareko ghar aija bhanera. So mom would call, and then he wouldn't pick up. Tulbaba gharma. Then me, my sister, and then Boje took us to Tulbaba's house because we didn't know the way, you know. So we went with Boze. They took us to Tulbaba's house, and then Tulbaba would be like, "Zata by the Omba's house type, okay?" So Omba Beloti, same thing, you know. So we used to get Omba, and then we got so happy Omba le, and then mom is like, "Where's your dad? You had one job type, okay?" I mean, it's a kind of. He's just like, "Oh, but we got Omba for you."
That is how easy to manipulate kids get.
So easy.
Oh.
And then that was one. And the second one, say we were touring around Nepal. This is 2005, 2004, I think. Devalama's dad had a job sakyo, and then everyone was going back to the UK. Everyone was moving to the UK. But our family decided not to go then. So he was like, let's just tour around Nepal. So we went Pokhara, Chiton, Sauraha. Chiton Sauraha is the same place. Lumbini, just like, you know, major places, excursion type winter holidays, ma. And I remember we hired a jeep. It was quite uncommon to hire a jeep. And then we hired a jeep. We went in a jeep, and we got into an accident. And my dad's head banged on the freaking glass, and the glass popped out. My cheek was like wham, and it was a massive swollen. So that's like
that's your core memory.
Like a negative core memory.
Okay,
that was an incident to remember, neither. Not a positive, but yeah. Theo, and then that time, say we actually spent time with dad for the first time ever outside Amro, Kathmandu go home, okay? And it was interesting to see what kind of person he was. He enjoyed drinking, making conversations. That's when I realized, like, do you get me? Like, because you meet strangers. When you're at home and when you're on holiday, you're two different people. So I could see the other side of him, and I don't think ever since we ever went on a holiday, like together. So that's like intense. But it was a very good but core memory. And I'm a teenage start to not. We were just pissed off at everything, you know, like for his that era.
Now you wish I had that. Like, you know, that photo or that whatever.
And there are pictures, don't get me wrong. My parents didn't slack on that. Like, there are pictures everywhere. Even some of my friends got hold of those pictures. I don't know how. I'm just, like, pissed off. So, yeah.
You know what I wish our family... One thing that our family doesn't have that I wish? Photo albums.
Oh.
You know, from when you were little to, like... Older. I still want to... One day, I want to suggest everybody come in and, like, do, like, a family photo shoot. Like a proper photo shoot.
I think you should.
Yeah, I think I should, because honestly, I think whatever back home we had lots of photo albums. I remember going through them when I was a kid, but here I've probably seen one somewhere around, and it's not got anything in there that I remember or are fond of. Yeah.
Even if it's like a digital memory, I honestly think that's very good as well. Like even Facebook,
Yeah, it'll be a big organized, because there's like fucking 10 people in my family.
Do it. Because we did it when our grandparents came around in the UK, okay? 2018, and that's the only memory we all have together in the UK, like photographed well. And it's honestly worth it. I would say definitely worth it. I would
definitely want, especially when I buy my own house and then when I go there, I want to take some photos, you know, so that I can hang them up and like, oof. I think you only get emotional once you start
planning in your head
and knowing that you're not going to live with your family anymore.
I think one should, like, obviously, since I've recently gone with been in loss, you know, I'm so glad that my mom took the initiative to, regardless of whatever it is, okay, bringing everyone together. Like my mom literally, she is the human scrapbook. I think she should be born in our era, but born a bit early. One of those people, okay? Oh my god, camera, usko pani mein dube. I don't know what happened to her camera. It was broken. She would borrow cameras, okay, from her friends just to take on trips so she'd have memories. So we've got memories since, you know how everyone's trying to take kids. You know how everyone's trying to take kids now, Easter holiday, when everyone's trying to, you know, kids are lano parsa type, okay? And back home when we were younger, they didn't really, you know, take children out, neither. Holiday, it's like ghar safa gar type or but I'm so glad my mom took the time every single time to take us out, okay? I mean, that's probably why she doesn't have like much wealth like all these aunties that her numberinis have. And I'm fine with it.
I mean, she's got a different type of wealth.
Yeah, she's got core memories, and we're so happy for that, because every time she has some money, she takes us out. She takes her nieces and nephews and his subbas and out. Okay? Like no differentiate, no whatsoever.
Yeah.
And that's what I would love to be.
Exactly.
Like a rich auntie.
Like, don't get me wrong. I would love to be rich.
Uh-huh.
I would, if I were to be given a choice of being rich, and being comfortable, like not as in like having enough savings for emergencies, but also spending money on family events and doing things, I would much rather do that. Because
the other one,
you
it's
know,
just
like
what satisfies your soul.
this,
I know.
the wealth in this is much more happier than money, any money.
But yeah, those were the core memories.
But anyway, let's move on to what happened when we started living with our dads.
My god! Bang, bang, bang! You start.
Okay. So I started living with my dad when I was 12, right? Proper full-time living with my dad. It was fun at first because you were like, oh, we've got both sets of parents and all that. But then, you know, when he would ask us to do stuff, and like, bear in mind, I grew up in an era where beating your kids up was very normal.
I mean,
right?
it still was.
Yeah, it still is. I mean, but not gonna point out who's beating who. But anyway,
don't call the social services.
Don't call the social services. But I'm beating up kids. So at 12, right? And they were from that era where, at 12, I was expected to cook everything for the family. I was expected to do household works. Whereas I was just enjoying life in a new country. I was like, having fun. I was still like a kid. I'm still like a kid. But I think that was when my womanhood was kind of hitting the fact that we are treated differently to men. You know, my brother, who's just about 20 months younger than me, can go out and play, and there is no expectation of him to cook or clean the house. Whereas I'm expected. You know, when my dad comes home from work, or when my mom's comes home from wherever she's been, that I am expected to cook. And if I didn't, then I would get beaten up. You know, and so at 12, I was like going through. It was all at the wrong time, man. Like, you know, teenage years, man. You're being introduced to somebody new who you are supposed to know all your life, who has birthed you. There's this obligation, biological obligation, but there's also this, okay, what am I then? Am I just the person that they're trying to use kind of feelings? You know, everything all together, it was a bit too much. And I think I did go through a lot of emotional roller coaster. And I still remember this one time when I fought with them. And I'm not like, okay, I will obey you kind of, or I am because of fear, or because of, what do you call it? Because of my biological obligation that I will obey you kind of. I wasn't that kind of child ever. I was always I will fight you to death, bitch, come at me kind of thing. It did get broken down. That attitude did get broken down a little in the middle when I gave up and the society was too much in the middle. I'm back to that person now. But when I was a child, I used to fight with them so much. Okay? And you know, when you want to fight, you want to get the words out, but you can't because you're just crying and too emotional. Nothing's more frustrating than that. Okay? And I still remember this one incident when I had fought and I left the house. So in the night, right, we all used to live in a camp.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much. I would say there's freedom inside the camp, but you wouldn't know much about the world outside the camp. So all I could do was just go and sit down on a park bench near my house. And I was doing that to cool down, to think about things. And what happens in army camps is that there's like this one person who is responsible for the whole camp. Like RP Mama So RP Mama was doing his rounds. And he was like, why are you sat here? Go back home. You know, he has that kind of authority to tell you that. And I just, like, by then I was like, how many people am I gonna fight? Okay?
Oh.
I've fought with my parents and I'm sat here, and now I want to fight with you. Like, and I know that if I fought with him, then my dad would hear that. Okay?
And then
so
you'd
that
be
my
in
dad,
trouble,
yeah,
yeah.
because he's my dad's supervisor. So he's, and you know, being in a situation where I couldn't fight somebody was really, really fucking annoying. Okay? And I had no choice but to go back to the house because that's all I had. The park bench and the house. And you know, when you can't go to both places, when you're that frustrated, when you're that, anyway, I'm gonna cry if I keep talking about it more. But it was really frustrating, and adjusting to his ways of life. And you know, when you live together, different people have different habits, right?
Of course.
I was well used to my mom's habit by 12 because I've lived with her all my life.
Yeah.
We've kind of fought back and forth, adjusted. And now I'm having to do this, all this
Readjust.
with my dad and trying to think. And then you hear things like, I gave birth to you. I raised you. Like, without me, you are nothing. Kind of. And I feel like I will never be able to utter those words to my children.
Because that's like trauma to you.
Yeah, don't quote me on that. I might do it by anger.
Yeah, she will. She will.
But I'll
yeah.
try my best not to say that to you, yeah? Because that is so demeaning to the person. You know? And you hear those kind of things while trying to adjust to this stranger, and you're trying to learn their habits, you're trying to learn their thing, and you don't even have the option to opt out of this relationship. You're not, okay, you're too young, like you're dependent on them. That's why I think I made a lot of effort at being independent right from the start, because I just didn't want to depend on anybody, especially when this society was telling me that women are dependent on us. And without independence you can't do anything. Good, that I clicked on quite early. That's why my first job was at 13. I started earning my own pocket money at 13. I started learning driving at 13. I learned a lot of skills at 13. Okay? Clicked on, and I'm quite proud of that. But also it led to me being very hyper independent. So like I didn't win anywhere.
It's very imbalanced cornice of the nage.
Yeah.
Because we are not taught how to balance, you know. My first experience with dad was when I moved to the UK at the age of 16, you know.
Yeah.
So we were living with some other family, who I consider my own family now, you know. Like we are actually tighter than my own cousins, let's per se. And I'm glad it was in that house, oily high inside one day. But let's say we used to live with them, and it was, I have nothing against the family, they did wonders, but I wish we had a bit more privacy, because to get to know our dad a bit more. Like you're sharing a house with another family and you don't even know your dad properly, you know? And you're still trying to adjust with him, right? So my dad, it was okay, like he was trying his best to make peace, I know. And I'm happy with that. And then we moved from that house to the house we are in now, you know. And it was obviously a massive change, but it felt quite nice to just be happy Matre and then to get to know him properly. But that also meant you were spending more time with him. So our family are not confrontational like your family. Like you have like verbal outlets, we don't, I know. And I struggle with confrontation still for that reason. And I've become better than before. I like to think. Thought silent treatment's a lot of those, okay? So if me and dad were pissed off, I blocked my dad for 3 years straight away on the phone. So if he had an emergency, he couldn't get to me. He didn't know what it was by that. And then Banza started working at his place, then he asked, and then he said, block or mama type, okay? So imagine a dad had to find out that way that I had blocked him. It is so toxic. So me and dad did not get along. When I say we had a shit relationship,
Oh my
people don't think they
God.
realize how bad it was. Yeah.
I did not know that.
We
Even
were-
I did not know
We
that.
were bad.
At the point where you would block your dad.
I blocked my dad for 3 years straight.
In a country where they depend on you for all most
Yeah,
communications.
he can communicate God, ma, but I just didn't want the phone. God, okay. Another thing was, so it was really bad. And what else did we have? So that's one thing out of the way. I just remember something, but I forgot now. Okay, Baba song, that was the thing. So mom was the means of communication for me and dad. Okay, because an incident happened.
I didn't even have that.
An incident happened when I was 13, like very vulnerable age, 13, okay, 12, ma.
Yeah.
I believe it was 13. I think it was 12 or 13, I'm not quite sure. Where something happened that I then decided that day I hate dad. So it wasn't I dislike him, I just said I hate him. Because he was trying to hurt someone who's very precious to me.
Yeah.
So it was like I made up my mind in a very Taurus, very, silent treatment family. So like, you take grudges, Nita. So that was it. I already made up in my mind, I don't like this person. And so that continued on, and then obviously adjustments on a gara boy, and obviously non-confrontational family. What do you expect? There's a bottled up feelings, So I just blocked him out. So that was him. Oh, and that led me to, I had to let my frustration out somewhere. So while mixed family it was them and us. So it was home or either college. So I had no outlet. That's when I started to take
It's so
relatable.
It's like my
it's like everyone goes through. And my outlet was home or college. I did a course where there's not much Nepali.
Yeah.
So it was either my sister's friends who had a wedding recently, and her sister's friends or home. That's it. Like Gorani friends, we didn't even like talk beyond classroom, okay?
Yeah.
And to me, he was a very social person. Never back home, we were like ride or die, like always going out kind of person. Like, imagine that makeshift was. I would say I was extremely depressed when I look back at it now, okay? But then I didn't know what depression was.
But you know what? That feels such a isolated position to be in.
I was extremely isolated. I'm telling you, I was every day Saturday my ride or die person to come to a country where I have to share a space with another people and a room with my sister, and the fact that I am trying to get to know dad and not at the same time. So all these feelings came.
At an age where you don't have patience for anything. You're
16.
trying to make a bond with your biological dad.
16, yep. And my outlet was swimming. So this is why I have toxic relationship with food and exercise. Still, I struggle with it for that reason. My outlet was swimming. I used to swim 4 days a week at least. College, but
oh my god, if you know, this woman swims like what, 50 laps non-stop, while I'm like struggling to
not
do
anymore.
4 or 5.
I can't with this COVID lumps. COVID fucked me up big time.
Yeah.
I used to walk to college because I didn't want to use my parents' money. So they used to give me like £10 a week. Save got their money. Like I used to buy lunches college, but then mom used to make us pack lunch most of the times, £10 of money, but I'd rather save it, buy something that I want, Only I used to walk to college. I used to walk back to college. We used to take the bus with your sister sometimes.
Oh, did you?
Because she was like my sister's friends, Only, but most of the time, we used to walk, and I used to walk to college 9 to 5, 9 to 4-ish. Then I used to swim like 60 laps. If it's not 60, my frustration is not out. And then I used to shower. Then I used to walk back home and then cook dinner. And then that was my routine, okay?
Ooh, that sounds tiring, physically and mentally.
But then that was my only outlet. So now I have like, with exercise and food, this not healthy relationship, okay? Joylite flashback on something like in the back of my mind.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, am I gonna be in the same toxic position again? I try to snap
fear.
out. Fear of failing again. Yeah.
The funny thing is, I feel like I've seen in a lot of people, not everybody, but some people, we engage in activities that physically tires out so much that we don't have the energy to think about anything.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's a way of avoiding your feelings and not dealing with it. And I think I think that I did that with traveling.
Yeah.
But lucky for me, touch wood, traveling did act as a therapy for me, and it did teach me a lot of stuff.
Yeah, with swimming, I still love it. Every time I struggle, I go to somewhere there's sea.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where I belong. Like, you know, people say
You swim in UK ko sea?
Yeah, I do. In cold weather.
I swear to God, I'm used to swimming in
European Sea.
like not European Sea. I'm used to swimming in Brunei ko Sea, which is like right at the equator where it's 35 degrees all year round. The water's warm. I came to UK and I was like excited to go to the sea, missed my old days, went to the water, got a massive headache because of the cold. I haven't been into the sea since then.
I think because we used to swim Nepal, it was not hot, number one. Summertime, and we used to swim even when it rained. Like, we used to train that hard.
Yeah.
So it's just actually nostalgic memories for me every time I go to the water. Okay?
Yeah.
That phase, you know, the tiredness was my coping mechanism. So when I'm like tire myself out, I know I'm going back to the old self. That water, I think that was the only reason why it was keeping me sane. Like, in that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was extremely bad. Mother dad go first encounter. God. Yeah,
it went on for years, to be honest.
It went on for years, and it went okay. Bitsama, I was like, you know what? What if I'd gone there? Let's just be friends. But I didn't know he still had resentment towards me. And then we had a massive, what do you call it? Confrontation after
we had a confrontation.
After 10 years of us living together. And that confrontation led to me coming homeless to your house.
She lived at my house. She was homeless
lived at her house
for a month.
You did? So, yeah, so it was one extreme to the other again.
Yeah.
And Ethiopia, she said, I think once he got diagnosed with cancer, I was like, you know what? Let's try to be friends again. Not friends. If not friends, just be civil.
Yeah.
Like, coexist in the same room.
Exactly.
I think the second confrontation, it was so bad that blocked it got it because I was like, let's not go to that extreme again. And I didn't repeat my mistakes. But if he was downstairs, I was upstairs. If he was upstairs, I was downstairs.
So you were both avoiding each other?
Yeah, only met at dinner times. That's it.
At least you guys had dinner times together.
I mean, he used to work nights most of the time. So whenever we used to have dinner time together.
Yeah, we don't eat as a family together.
I think you should.
That's why when I go to Diwaska house, because they eat together, they do things together, I feel a bit... I enjoy it. But then it gets a bit annoying after a while. I'm like, why am I waiting hungry for you?
That is true. I think it's okay. Weekends, in my opinion. Because we've always had dinner together. That when you say, why am I waiting hungry for you? Yeah, I have no patience for
Not
hunger.
every day, man. Because different people have different schedules.
Like, we still wait for mom for dinner.
Yeah.
Like, 8:30, she comes home-ish. So we have dinner after she comes. Because that's just how we were conditioned, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I rebel out. But I still stay with them. You get my point?
Yeah.
You do your own thing, but I still sit with them. Like, so might as well just eat together type again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a core struggle.
I know, right? So I think a lot of people, especially UK immigrant family, are the ones that have not lived with their dads since they were children, or they were introduced to their dads as teenagers or adults. I think I relate with this guy because we're trying to, and especially as we mentioned in the last podcast, we came to this country and the role reversed, and we're trying to know the worldly affairs, having to learn about the worldly affairs, having to navigate this new role that you have, that you're suddenly responsible for all communications, for translating, you're the interpreter, you're the bloody admin of the house, and whilst you're trying to adjust to the new environment yourself.
And when you're a teenager as well, going through all these hormones, I definitely tell people who moved in here when they were like 7, 8, or even 10 had it easier than us. That obviously we're not gonna have to struggle our life. We can't really say whatever. Thought of when you're hormonal and you're at a peak,
Yeah.
it's probably not the right time.
And you know what also made a massive impact on my mental health was racism. Racism, because I never faced discrimination before coming to this country.
You never faced discrimination against race.
Against
you
race.
faced gender
Yeah.
quite well.
You never questioned what was wrong with you as a Nepali person or a person of a different color until I came to this country and realized that we were hated for being this color.
This color. For being black. I had a subtle... I thought it was... I didn't know how to approach that situation then, okay? So when I was walking, because I used to walk, someone threw a burger at me.
Yeah.
Literally. And I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, I was literally, even fresh, 1 month into the country. And I was like, what is happening? That was my thought, okay?
Oh my god.
So innocent.
I'm glad that was your thinking.
They thought...
And not, oh my god, I'm being hated.
I thought that because I was very oblivious to then. And they would say Gora, blah blah blah. But then I was like, what? I have college friends type, okay? Because they're Gora, they're friends with me, like
Yeah.
And I think 3 months later, I soon realized that okay, we're not friends type, okay? They said to me, you know, they say like Nepalese people house smell like curry.
Obviously it does because we cook it.
Type, okay? And I'm like, what?
Yeah, your house smells like potatoes, man.
There, she's like, our house smells like dairy. English people go, and the Nepali smells like curry. And I'm like, well, stop eating curry then if you're against it.
Those are the people that will go to an Indian takeaway and like gobble down curry.
Chicken korma, by the way. There's no thing called chicken korma outside the UK. And it's shit. I'm sorry. And you know, UK national dish is chicken tikka. They invented chicken tikka. Chicken tikka masala. You can't find that in India because it's bullshit. It's not curry-fied. It's a watered-down version of curry. Chicken tikka is the national dish. Where did you get the spices from, hon? But anyways,
let's not go into the racism because that's another topic that we
need to call out on these people because I don't think Asian hate is emphasized enough. Yeah. But anyway, we'll do that on another podcast. So how are you feeling now with your
about
dad?
My dad?
Yeah.
I mean, now I see him as just another human being who was also going through his journey, emotional journey, and who didn't know how to navigate with children or how to treat children. Because if I think about it, right, my dad was raised differently with different values. So his parents were not gentle with him as well. And before he knew what life was, he got enlisted in the army. He was enlisted at 16. So he was a child himself.
Yeah.
So his world was just military, like very military wise. And I think a lot of their way of raising us was very militarized, like disciplining and, you know, being strict about things, being stringent. And they just, I mean, to be honest, right, they haven't been parents before. Like, they're just learning to be parents. And I think now in hindsight, I think I should have been more
gentle,
understanding, but also I don't think I could have been because I was
you were going through your own shit.
Yeah.
Well,
but I mean, I guess whatever happened for a reason, and we all have to go through this process to kind of understand. And I'm glad that I'm in a position where I can understand his mental health being throughout his journey. To some point, to some point I can understand. Obviously, I can't understand everything because he's not much of a sharer. And we haven't made, the society and the world is not a safe place still for men to express their feelings that may sound like feminine.
Yeah.
And men are not supposed to express things and all that. Yeah, whatever. But I think he also had his fights, internal fights. I had my internal fights. And now we're at a nice place where I think we both kind of understand each other. Like, I've established my boundaries with him.
Yeah.
He hasn't, but I have established his boundaries for him.
Yeah.
In regards to Yeah, I would like to believe that, but anyway,
Manu
if my dad were to be on podcast, maybe he will say something different. But you never know.
You know, if your dad was to be on podcast, you wouldn't go anywhere. It would just be us chatting bullshit. Okay?
Yeah, I'll be in the corner, like out of the frame.
You adopted child.
But yeah, I feel like I wish that my dad expressed his feelings a bit more, and dealt with his demons a bit more. But it's a bit sad, but you can't help a person who's not ready to help themselves.
Of course.
So I mean, we're at that. I mean, but I love him, and I'm sure he loves me. I hope he loves me.
He obviously does. He might think you're a bit crazy, but he still loves you. Which we all think, by the way. My relationship with dad, I think I'm glad we came to the position that we were in at his end of years, man.
Yeah.
We went from blocking each other to hating each other to me being the only person he expressed to. So that was a long journey. I think we achieved that in a matter of fact of 11.5 to 12 years, I know.
Oh yeah.
Because I came here when I was 16, let's say 11 and 27 when that kid, yeah. So let's say 10 to 11 years, I know. So I think if you're struggling with your dad or if you're struggling with any of your family member, you still have time, but make sure it doesn't cost you your peace.
Yeah.
Because if it costs you your peace, it's not worth it, I know. But also like never mentality that family or blah blah blah. Like yeah, true, but if it's costing you peace, it's not worth it. I did it at a price of for my own sake, I know. It didn't cost me peace towards the end of it. But I was like, I'm not gonna do it because it's too much for me, you know. But I was like, it's for my own peace because I know I'd have resentment and I'd have regrets, and I don't want to live life like that because that's when it's gonna cost you your real peace.
Exactly.
You know? So
sometimes not doing it
is
and losing temporary peace can cost you a more permanent peace.
Exactly. So we went from blocking each other, blocking dad, to actually being the person who he would only talk to in the last few days of his life, okay? And I would like to think I've done a fucking great job for making him a space where he feels comfortable enough to share that.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to share his last sermon to anyone but me, okay? And I'm glad I had a hard conversation with him. I know. That are going on to, would I have done things differently? I wouldn't. Because if I hadn't gone through all that phases, it wouldn't lead me to that realization that, wait, hang on, let me snap out of it, okay? Because I would have probably taken it for granted and not felt like, oh shit, we have a limited time on it, I know. But I wouldn't have done it any different. I would love to have it a better way where it's loving, like your parents attend all your sports days, they reply to your fucking letter and not just be a one-way letter, you know. But I mean, he probably didn't know what to reply, I know. But I didn't think of it because I thought, if I can write, why can't he write? And that was my aggression and, arrogance. But now that I think of it, maybe he didn't know what to write. Maybe because he never expressed himself, like you said. So he couldn't be soft around children, especially girls. Like raising 2 girls is probably what he never thought of, neither. So, so I wouldn't do any different, but I'm glad things went that way.
The thing is, you had to go through the hard journey to learn your lessons as well.
Exactly.
And it's made you the person that you are now. So I think regret is something that you shouldn't really hold on to much.
Yeah.
But also, I think what we need to understand is our generation was exposed to a lot of new material, a lot of open-minded feelings, a lot of open-minded literature, a lot of open-minded, internet has made it possible to make mental health such a big thing. Okay?
Yeah, I agree.
And they don't have that. They still have their own circle that they're comfortable at, and at this age, I don't think they would go anywhere else anyway.
Exactly.
If they do, that's brilliant, that's lovely, but I wouldn't expect my dad to suddenly go to therapy.
And they don't get the idea of therapy. They think pagal ba sa mom. I'm not pagal. Like I suggested mom, there's counseling. Like mom,
Yeah, because their image is like only people with
Mental, yeah.
psycho मान्छेहरु मात्रै जान्छ type को.
And it's fine. Like they can be like, and I keep telling her like it's fine if you don't want to go, but you can express to us, okay? And I think we as children need to make comfortable environment for them as much as we can, because if you were raised like they were, I don't think we would survive in this modern world at the minute.
And also, sometimes you have to be the bigger person in all of this.
Definitely.
Sometimes
it's okay.
Take pride in being the bigger person and being the more forgiving one, and it will cost you your peace temporarily.
Yeah.
But at least it will not cost you a lifelong time
of
regrets,
resentments
and everything.
Because that's honestly more expensive than your peace.
Exactly.
So
and we've always said in this podcast, if you give your 100%, and it still doesn't work out, at least you can walk away from it without anything.
And you can say you've tried.
Yeah.
I know. That's the Gurkha in us, actually. Because I'm not that resilience. Okay, resilience has. Oh, okay. Let's not talk about it.
Resilience could be another podcast.
But having said that, thank you for joining us in our podcast. It was quite short and sweet today, I think.
Yeah.
And I hope you could relate if you're a Gurkha kid or any immigrant child who's never spent time with both of your families. It could be a mom, it could be a dad. So let us know how it was moving in with them. Did you block your parents too? But thank you.
Were you homeless?
Yeah, we've both been homeless, by the way. But thank you for listening.
By the way, before we open this, she was like, will we finish it? And then I was like, if we don't, then there are girls out there that will finish it for us. But we're kind of like,
we should drink with orange juice and make a mimosa. I'm not alcoholic.
God damn.
I confess.
I think I see the hint in there.
I have orange juice at home.
No, I'm talking about mimosa.
Oh, mimosa!
Mimosa.
Hey, babes. You guys should set a date with him and I already. Like, I literally tell him, got to do that, bro just ignores me.
Mimosa and Meri can talk about generational trauma and all the mental health things.
And our banter. I think it matches. I'm telling you, you know the jokes I crack. Mimosa actually puts it on his story. And I'm like, babes, we're meant to be.
Are you Mimosa?
I'm not.
Are you secretly Mimosa?
I'm not. Maybe I am. But I'm not. I haven't got that of a schedule to be Mimosa. But our jokes match. So, babes, please hit at me. Because I know you won't find anyone like me.
Self-confidence.
Imagine he's like a 50-year-old dude. Get off, bro. Done.
Nah, you can't be.
But
anyway, we will proceed on to having lots and lots of champagne and lots and lots of rum cocktails and lots of whatever for the next 12 hours.
Cheers. Cheers to fucking life. Happy Easter.
Cheers to generational trauma.
Cheers to being a Gurkha kid. Cheers
to being raised by single parents.
Cheers. But not single at the same time. Are we downing it?
I guess so.
Yeah. We down champagne. Bye.